Welcome to Basics of Occupational Safety.
Welcome to this module, Overview of Occupational Safety. Now, can you imagine a workplace, anywhere wherever you would like to work, which is not safe, or the reputation of that workplace is not good in terms of any kind of safety measures or any kind of incidents that you must have or you have heard about that organization. Will you be okay to work in those organizations? Or say, if you already have any organization that you are the owner of the organization, will you like to have a workplace which is not safe and secure for your employees? Of course, the answer is no, right? So that's why it's very important for us to understand that what does it takes to ensure the workplace wherever anyone is working is safe and secure in terms of any way. It can be in terms of ergonomics, in terms of any other physical the aspects that are there in the organization. So we need to understand that why this occupational safety is so crucial, irrespective of the balance sheet of any of the organization. So at times, of course, when we choose any organization, it's just not about the balance sheet. It's of course in terms of many other aspects, whether the organization has been performing all the safety measures or not, or whether all the legal requirements or the regulatory frameworks are in place or not. Of course, at times we also are very eager to know what was the last incident day which was being reported by this organization. So many things comes in the picture, so many things, so many questions that can come in your picture. Okay, so this entire set of modules, okay, which we are going to learn, will help you to understand, to determine that what are the things that we should do in any of the organization, or anything which will help in ensuring the proper safety in the workplace. So first and foremost, in terms of the occupational safety, let's see the definition and how we define this, the occupational safety and the importance of it in any organization. It protects employee health and well-being in the workplace, which we know this is one of the prime thing that is required. And without that, of course, anyone will not be that much comfortable to work in that organization, and which eventually will hamper in the business, and that definitely will hamper in the profitability also. More than the profitability, it is also the importance of the health of the workers, or of those people who are working in that workplace, because at the end of the day, the human health is having a very higher attributes, okay, in our life, and that should be safe and secure. It also includes, in terms of occupational health, the physical, the chemical, the ergonomical, or even the psychological risks that are associated in an organization that is where you are aspiring, or wherever if you are already part of any other organization that is there. It also ensures that how you can minimize injuries, illness, or any other way of uncertainties in the workplace. Okay, now there could be emergency scenarios, no doubt in that, but apart from this, okay, are we ready for those kind of emergency scenarios? What is the preparedness of us, okay, in those kind of scenarios? So that all we have to evaluate, we need to understand, we need to see those procedures, training, we need to see those kind of hazards which are also there, okay, in the organization, and how we can identify those things. It covers various industries and each with specific kind of needs. So the type of SOPs, the type of safety measures, okay, which a chemical industry will have would not be same for the mining industry, and will not be same for the healthcare industry. So that's why it cannot be one straight guidelines for all. It has to be curated, it has to be tailor-made based on the type of organization and the type of work which those companies are dealing with. Now, if you see the historical development of this occupational safety, it was earlier right from the ancient practices, okay, where Egypt, Greece, and Rome were the ones, okay, who started, okay, who were more concerned regarding the safety aspects of in the organization. Then came the Industrial Revolution, where the specific conditions in terms of what should be maintained and how it should be maintained in any kind of hazardous working condition, that has to be identified, evaluated, and minimized or mitigate, okay, in that. Then comes your the early regulation, okay, which is called as the Factory Act of 1883, which was one of the eye-opener, and which has helped in ensuring the proper safety and aspects, okay, of the workers who are working there. Then came OSHAs, which was being intentionally being acclaimed and being accepted, where in 1970, okay, which was formalized on a specific mode of safety regulations or the safety standards, which can be applied to any of the sectors or any of the organizations. Of course, it can be. There are points, okay, which speaks about the different sectors. Specifically, that what should be done in those sectors, okay, to ensure that this does not happen, or any kind of incident or any kind of risk which is there that can be minimized. Now, in terms of the modern occupational safety practices, we speak about the risk assessment to identify and mitigate hazard. I think I have already touched upon this particular point in the previous slides, that it's very important that in any organization we identify the hazard. Okay, hazards are those potential risks which can hamper the entire process. Okay, so that's why all the hazards, whichever is there, okay, in the organization, has to be evaluated. First, of course, it has to be identified, and then we have to try and see that how the risk mitigation or the risk assessment can be done of those hazards, and based on the risk assessment we can evaluate, we can propose strategies that what can be done and what should be done to minimize those kind of risk from the organization or any kind of hazard from the organization, which will make it much more safe and secure for the entire workplace to work for the employees. Now, what is the sequence here? First, of course, identifying the hazard. Next, of course, it speaks about the risk that is associated with the hazard. Next, it speaks about evaluating those hazards. Then, of course, in terms of the standard procedures of any kind of control measures which we are implementing in the organization to keep a check of those kind of hazards which have identified in the earlier step. And of course, there are different kind of SOPs that can be done. If there is any kind of incident that happens, we can also try and see that what kind of predictive and corrective measures can be taken in the organization, and of course the root cause analysis that need to be evaluated. We will see these points in the coming slides, in the coming modules also, and we'll see one by one very much in detail that what should be done here in this case. For the time being, to have the introduction part of here, okay, you can see that PPE kits, okay, any kind of protective equipment, okay, personal protective equipments, okay, like helmet, gloves, goggles, boot, apron. So this can be our first step, okay, where we can introduce and we can use it for our own safety or for the worker safety. But of course, there are multiple points that whether the number of PPE kits is available or not, or whether the correct size fitment is also there or not. So those things are also part of it, but PPE kit has to be a part which we should be giving for any kind of occupational safety that is there. Safety protocols for emergency and daily operations. So any kind of safety measures which are there, which should be laid down, and SOPs should be there, which will ensure that it is being followed, and that will help in having a much more safe and secure environment. And of course, ongoing safety training for the workers, where people will be more aware that what to be done and what not to be done. In terms of technological innovation in our occupational safety, now introduction of AI, artificial intelligence, or any kind of IoT based devices can be a real-time monitoring mechanism which can be done, and which also can predict if there is any kind of incident which can lay or which can happen, okay, due to the readings or due to the standard process that is being going on in the process in the organization. Automation reduces exposure to dangerous tasks, and that's how the process has to be ensure it should be laid down in the organization. Wearable technologies can track the human health hazards that is there, and data analytics can predict and prevent any kind of safety risk which are there in the organization. In terms of the global occupational safety standards, we have the ILO, the International Labour Organizations, which sets global conventions and standards for everyone and for organizations which are being in place. Then we have the OSHA, which you have already mentioned that in 1970 it was being introduced for ensuring the safety workplace. We have the EU, the European Union framework directive sets safety standards for the members who are a part of this European Union mechanisms. Then we also have the national laws enforce workforce safety in various countries, okay, which are there. So there can be some certain rules and regulations, okay, which every country can adopt in this entire scenario. Now, in terms of future trends in occupational safety, mental health becomes one of the very key important point, which is just not about the physical health. The mental health is also a part of it, okay, which ensures the proper productivity and the business for in the organization. Addressing safety in the gig economy, which you say, and the remote work mechanisms can also be applied to ensure the psychological factors of the employees. Adapting safety measures for climate change risk, which are happening very rapidly, which you have seen, okay, in the recent time, that what could happen, okay, due to the climate change, and how we are ready for those kind of damages that can be created. And of course, the tech integration for enhanced safety protocols should also be taken place. So thank you.